Different generations of what?
Well, the millennials are much more ecology-minded. Here comes Liz. Liz is checking in.
Different generations of what?
Well, the millennials are much more ecology-minded.
Okay, well, good evening, all. Welcome to the July 20th meeting of the Kennebunkport Growth Planning Committee. I'm Dan Saunders. I'd like to start off, as always, with the introduction of our members and guests. So, Mr. Fitzgerald.
Jim Fitzgerald.
Janet.
Janet Powell.
Paul.
Hi there, I'm Paul.
Okay, Werner.
Werner Gilliam.
Jim McMahon, you with us today? I don't see you listed. Okay. Tom
Morgan,
and Liz.
Liz, you're muted.
Disturbing. Had a lot of meetings today.
Yeah, I hear you. Thank you. Thank you all for joining this evening. All right, so on the agenda, we'll discuss the SWAT event for next Monday evening. Hopefully all of you who are out there watching this live have already signed up for the SWAT. And looking forward to seeing you all next week. So Liz or Tom, do you want to start with that?
Sure. I could start off. So we have hit our registration capacity of 72 people that we had
Wow.
permitted to sign up on the Eventbrite platform. We did receive a couple emails through the website of people trying to RSVP, but being informed that the event was sold out because we had hit that 72 number. So Tom, those emails came in recently, I think over the weekend.
It came in on July 16th and July 18th.
And so we, before we respond, we just wanted to sort of run that by the committee and see if you had any thoughts on responding. I think that, at least my thought was that we had set the registration cap just to ensure that we weren't packing the tables as a COVID precaution.
Right.
We increased that cap from 50 to 72. There's a chance that quite a few of the people that registered may not show up, and we hope to be able to accept walk-ins also. But we wanted sort of your input and ideas on how you'd like us to respond to those folks who are, in some cases, potentially frustrated that they're not able to sign up and be guaranteed that they can get in. I don't know if you have anything to add to that, Tom.
Yeah, well, one in particular was frustrating because we advertised that the RSVP deadline was July 16th, and when she tried to sign up on the 16th, she was unsuccessful. So she's not too happy about that.
Yeah. Had we put a limit there? I don't recall on the sign up.
Not on the flyer.
Yeah, so, okay, yeah. So they wouldn't have seen that there was a limit.
What's our capacity?
Well, I don't know the actual capacity of the tent. We have planned for 2 tables per topic, and so we have 12 tables that can accommodate. We have said 6 people. I don't know if we know the exact size of the table, if they're, technically 8-person tables, if they were at a wedding, or if they're actually the 6-person table. I don't know that we know that detail.
You know what, if we could get a couple tables extra?
Yeah, I can find out what the table capacity is, just so that we know that. I think we did, that's what we had initially had planned for was a 6 table, but I'll see if it's a larger one, it has more capacity to it.
If we do end up adding tables and we want to add in extra groups, then we'll just need to know that ASAP, because we've already done the large format printing. We could probably get more done if we put an order in like tomorrow. But just as a heads up on that, if we have to print more large format items.
So how many people would we have to accommodate?
Well, right now we have 72 people registered, and we're figuring, Tom, you said in the past, some of your workshops that you've registered folks online, about 20% don't show up that registered, and then similar numbers show up as walk-ins.
Yes, so we break even. I told Liz, I always worry about the fire marshal. But those are indoor events. We're in a tent, so that should be much more relaxed.
Yeah, we've got a pretty good sized tent there. It's their large wedding tent. So, so I'm not worried about a capacity question, in that regard.
Okay.
But I will find out from Tina what the, what the table sizes are.
Do you think
Okay.
we should think about adding a couple tables or,
That was my initial thought, to sort of keep to that 6 at a table. If we could add maybe 2 tables and, get them covering a different topic.
So I guess what I'm hearing is the committee is going to accommodate these folks one way or another then, huh? Because I asked that because, they sent us an email and we, I owe them a response, some kind of response.
How many were there?
First. Hmm?
How many were there?
Well, 2 so far, but I don't think that's the last. I think we'll have other people too.
a couple of people had reached out to Janet also. And that was before the registration cap was initially at 65 and then we increased it to 72 before the registration deadline and it still filled up. So I think Janet received an email from a couple people that maybe tried to register between that, hitting the 65 and increasing to 72 period. So there could be more people. I intentionally didn't set up a wait list because that can get really complicated during the registration process when there's walk-ins, registered people, and people on a wait list. And we don't have the luxury of having the time to, shuffle people around too much at the registration.
Okay.
Their website says they can accommodate up to 350 people under a tent on our back lawn
Wow.
Yeah.
at the Portside Lodge location overlooking the river. So I don't know
Yeah.
if that's bigger than their usual tent or that is their big tent.
Yeah,
I think
that is their big tent.
Yeah, I think we ought to check with, we're at 72 now. We ought to check with Tina to make sure that we can accommodate more than that. Just with, I don't know what else they have going on at the anthem that week. So I think we ought to do that first. So that means we wouldn't have an answer tonight. But then second, it'd be nice to know what number we could accommodate to. And honestly, I'm if folks, we know who reached out to us. So Janet, who got to you, and then we have these others that have sent in emails.
Right.
Certainly want to accommodate them if we can. And if we can add a few more after that, that'd be good as well. But if we can't, then it'd be good to be able to accommodate at least the people that have reached out to us as of today.
So
Because it's past the RSVP time.
I guess what I'm hearing is that I'll respond by email tomorrow morning saying that I'm optimistic we'll be able to accommodate them. And we'll confirm that soon.
Yep.
One way or the other.
Yes.
More likely there will be walk-ins, so.
Yeah.
Because we didn't say registration required. We said registration, please register or something like that, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, okay. This is a good problem to have.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The opposite problem.
And in the meantime, Tom and I could just plan on getting a little bit more
Yeah,
extra printing done just to be safe.
yeah, let's do that.
Okay. Are there specific, so we could add sort of a third table for one of our 6 discussion topics. So that's infrastructure, housing, tourism, natural and cultural resources, and vision chapter. Is there any interest in a particular topic that you would like us to add in? I mean, another table for one of those topics? If you had to pick one?
We're going to do a rotation, right?
We're going to do a rotation so everyone will be able to go to 3 topics.
But now we'll have an additional table possibly.
Right, so if we have that table available, do we just pick 3 topics and have one for each session?
So
Okay. Or not.
during each of the sessions, there'll be a discussion on all of the topics. There'll actually be two tables discussing. So during session one, two of the tables will be discussing infrastructure, two will be discussing housing, and so on. And so we would just add an extra table so that during session one, maybe 3 tables are discussing infrastructure, 2 tables housing.
Yeah.
That's a pretty easy thing to do. It's just a matter of printing.
Okay.
So Tom and I could pick the extra topic, or the committee could pick
Yeah,
which topic we want a third.
if you have a
table
preference,
for.
let us know, because we'll have to go to the printer tomorrow.
Yeah.
I would say vision and community character.
Okay. Sounds great.
Uh,
Yeah, that's fine. That works for me.
Good.
Were you looking for 1 suggestion or 2 suggestions?
I think one is good.
Okay. Okay.
And that will be the sticky dot survey topic as well, right?
Slightly different, but the sticky dot is on visioning too.
Okay.
Yeah, the
Okay.
sticky dot's intended for everyone to
Good.
participate in.
Okay.
And I acquired a heavy-duty easel that won't get blown over.
Yeah, I guess the question I'm asking, if this will be like a 13th table potentially, right? Baker's dozen.
Yeah.
So they do
Yeah.
the vision the first time. The second time, should we pick 3 topics so that maybe they don't move and they just do another topic the second time for the second session? Or how's that?
So the tables stay the same. So the same topic is covered at the same table the
So
whole
we're just
night.
gonna rotate.
So
I
the
got you.
people rotate, and so they'll be able to
Gotcha.
choose
Okay.
the topics they want to go to.
Okay.
And we'll keep a base map at the table and the materials, and then we'll give each group a new worksheet to write on.
Sounds good. Yeah, vision works for me. The more we can get on vision, I think the better.
So the other items we had, I guess, flagged. I have put in an order for some snacks, and I'm getting ready to send out the email to the participants about the folks who have registered about the event with the agenda and the links to the website with additional information. One of the things that we were going to add in was info about parking. Do we have, Werner, do you have an update on where Northampton would like us to have people park and access the tent?
Yeah, I mean, we're looking to access, there's the, I think what they refer to as a port side, parking area, the port side building, and that parking area there is where folks should be parking at.
But just past the entrance, right?
Right.
Where the main entrance is, they pull
That's right.
forward past that.
Yep, on the right-hand side there.
We want to encourage them to carpool if they're coming with neighbors.
Yes,
Because parking is
absolutely.
limited.
Yep, yeah, folks could carpool, that would be ideal.
As long as it's COVID safe. Hopefully they're all vaccinated, but you don't know.
Tom, did you have any other items for the workshop?
Yeah, just some small ones. Janet, the poster made it over to the library, I understand?
Yes, it's there.
Okay, when we do the sticky dot poll, we were hoping to use that fiberboard as a support for the sticky dot.
I'll make sure I bring it with me.
That'd be great.
Okay.
And Jim, I understand you have a easel floating around out there?
Is Jim with us?
I do. Yeah. Sorry, I was a couple minutes late. I can, if you want, I can drop that off at the town hall. That's your call.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I'm just thinking, will you be at the event on the 26th?
No, I will, of course.
Oh, yeah, we'll just bring it with you then.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
I appreciate that. A lectern. Werner, has that come up in your discussions with Tina?
No, that hasn't come up. But I can check to see what we have there. I'm assuming we're gonna have.
We
assuming
actually
we're gonna
have
a-
one. I have one I could bring. I think I do, yeah.
I said I didn't realize it was.
I think we got one out as a wedding gift. It's somewhere in the basement.
What?
We'll look for it.
Yeah, you know.
We actually got two. We got one like handmade wood one that's really awesome. I won't be bringing that. But then we just got a portable one also.
What kind of friends do you have?
Is your hobby getting
No,
speakers?
no, they're for like we got a really cool. We got a dictionary and then like a
wow.
big I don't know,
A stand for
plants
it.
and animals book. Yeah, so it's a stand. One of them is
Oh,
a stand
great.
for that. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Anyways, so I have one somewhere.
Excellent, yeah.
Interesting.
Now you guys all have the backstory on it.
Yeah.
Really?
I
Great.
hope the person who gave it to you isn't listening,
I don't think so.
since you don't know where it is.
Friday night at Liz's house.
Yeah.
Some couples enjoy giving speeches, that's all.
Yeah.
No, not us. I actually did have one other question, and I apologize if I forgot if we went over this, but I'm not sure if we've talked about how the committee members want to participate, if you want to join tables or if you want to float around and sort of listen in and help people and sort of participate informally. But I think it's up to you how you'd like to. I just thought I'd throw that out there in advance.
Yeah, I would say we should float, particularly if there's
Yeah.
a good crowd.
Mhm.
There may be
Yeah.
people who need information about restrooms, or they may be a little
Yeah.
confused about how it's going to work. And I think our being able to answer that would be really good.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree.
I agree.
And
Yeah, I
some,
think it would be.
We can also keep time for them too.
and some will be asking you guys, now tell me again, what is a comprehensive plan?
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
What is it? Okay.
And we certainly don't want to be looked like we're trying to steer the conversation either. So,
No.
right. So I think it's be very
Neutral.
helpful for us.
neutral
Be very
opinion.
neutral and right,
So
helping them work through it.
yeah, how's this sound? What if each member of the committee kind of plants themselves at a separate table? So
Yeah. Well, I mean, there'll be more tables than committee members, but we could certainly sort of plant ourselves at one, during one of the sessions, then maybe move around.
because what you bring to the process is not only you can tell them exactly what a comp plan is, but you can tell them what we've been doing for close to 2 years and where we are in the process.
Yeah, no, I think
Absolutely.
That's a good use of time. We don't
Well, I
have
think-
very much time to discuss these items.
Right.
So I think just pointing them, get started,
Yeah.
and do your talking.
Yeah, no, I think it's important for us to float around. And I think, the role that we can have is that if people are getting a little bit stuck, maybe with, either getting started or just, having the conversation, that we're there to, kind of help spur that on a little bit. But, that's what I see our role more being, trying to help facilitate it and just, keep it on target.
Exactly. Yeah.
Great. Thanks.
Can we commit to participants that we'll send them an email afterwards with a summary? I've had a few people ask me, about the format and then the time and how we're going to do that all in 2 hours. And are you going to tell us what the other tables talked about? So it would seem to me that would be a good commitment to make.
Yes, we can do that, Paul. There is at the end of the 2-hour session, there is a few minutes set aside for report outs. So they'll get a quick report about what the other tables did. But we can follow up with a more detailed summary via email.
Yeah, we're planning to try to get the notes basically transcribed pretty quickly, and we can also include photos of the worksheets and the maps in the documentation, so that all the public input will be included in the plan appendices. But we can certainly send it out directly to the people that they're registered and the people that give their email when they arrive.
Speaking of photos, I still do not have a team photo of the Growth Planning Committee.
Screenshot right now.
You're right.
That's funny. No, but this would be a good opportunity to have a good picture, because most if not all of you will be present and you'll be outdoors, so the lighting will be great.
Sounds good.
Sounds like a good idea.
What do we do if there's 100 people show up and there's a lot of discussion and the conversations are great, and the fact that we're trying to do this, we're trying to cram this into one session. Do we try to replicate this? Do a follow-up?
Wasn't the intent to encourage people also to when we do the online hosting ones too? I mean, is that a good opportunity?
So we did talk about an online option.
I would say we should analyze the results the way we see them happening or happen.
Yeah.
We need to, let's do it again.
Well, we are planning on doing another public session in September. It will be slightly different focus. Will be about future land use.
Right.
Coming up pretty soon. So you get people pretty pumped up on the 26th. So you can tell them, well, come on back in September, because we're gonna do a similar exercise.
Another option could be to allocate, some time at the growth planning committee meetings to, having sort of a more informal, I wouldn't call it a workshop, but making sure the public know that they're welcome to attend. And if, we feel like there's a lot of interest in having more discussion on these topics, then allocating some time for some public discussion at the growth planning committee meetings.
Yeah, we could even take, a topic or two topics that there's a lot of interest in, if that's what our analysis shows. And,
Right.
this way we have a good mailing list of people who came and were engaged, and they, we might get some small percentage of them to come again by Zoom.
Good idea.
Good idea, Paul. You could just take a couple of the items and discuss them,
Right.
what the results were and see what pops up.
Ultimately, we're going to be moving forward, with implementation, for all of these chapters anyways. So my hope would be is that, folks have got, this really just will give them a taste, in terms of what they may want to come back, to one of our regular meetings with and participate in. It doesn't mean that they can't participate in a regular meeting where we talk about implementation for, land use or economy or whatever chapter it is that they have an interest in.
Yep.
So are we explaining that part of the process to them as part of this?
We should, we should tell them that, that this isn't kind of the end, of this, right? It's, this is, in a sense, this is data gathering, for these items. And, we're going to be looking at them, a little bit more formally, but really in a sense, we're going to be looking at the results, of what we hear.
Hey, Dan.
Yes.
Does it make sense? I know you said you were going to have an opening speech. Does it make sense for, what Paul suggested and what, seems to be an agreement for you to have a closing statement to allow people to hear that and to know that they can participate in the future at the meetings?
Yeah, absolutely. I was thinking the exact same thing, that we'd have some type of closing remarks. I can give them, or another member wants to give them, it doesn't matter. But yes, I think we ought to give that. I was thinking at first, do I include that in the opening piece, but I think it might be better as part of the closing.
Yeah, I agree.
And then add, that, the next event's going to be in September. Yeah, definitely. So we got the hook in, we just keep reeling.
Yeah.
So I'm excited that we've got this many people interested. That's good. Okay. So I'll prepare something. I'll see if I can get it out before the weekend. Okay. Any other comments on the SWAT?
Nope.
But I did have that comment in there. Werner, do you know if they have to wear masks when they go inside the building?
I will double check. The last time I was at No Nanum, it was it was a requirement that they had
Yeah.
posted.
Okay.
I'll get an update from Tina on
Okay.
that.
Yeah. All right. I assumed it was, and that's why I put it in there. But
Yeah. Yep.
so if that's the case, do you have that included in the email, Liz, that they would need to have a mask to go inside the building?
That in, thanks.
Yeah, just in case. Yeah, thank you.
Dan, they need to go into use the rest facility. Any other reason they need to go in the building?
If they wanted the refreshment. Would be the only. I'm not sure I would advertise that, but locals would know, right? They'd
Right.
go down there. Like to stay focused at least until through
For your speech.
the session. Yeah, the closing remarks.
But you just told me the reason I need to bring a mask. Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah.
So the refreshments are indoors and inside the building?
The adult beverages are.
Yeah. But,
Yeah.
but you can't.
I don't know if they have
Use
enough.
a beverage at the same time anyway, so.
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't been out for a while, so I don't know what the deal is.
Do we need to bring extra masks or anything for people to start bringing them anymore?
I guess we could get.
Yeah, it probably wouldn't hurt to have some. I can
Yeah.
I can check with Allison. I'm pretty sure we have a stockpile.
Okay, that'd be great.
Yep.
Just in case people forget, and they will.
Yep.
Okay. And so what time should members be there? We targeting
Well,
5 o'clock?
we've
4:30?
advertised the public to show up 5:45, so you probably want to be there 15 minutes earlier than that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm thinking
I come at 5,
5 o'clock. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
5 o'clock.
I would think so. Yep.
in case we have to move anything around or.
Right.
Yeah.
Luz and I are planning to be there at 4, if I recall correctly.
Oh, 4. Okay. All right. So between 4 and 5, members can get there.
Right.
All right. Any other discussion on the SWAT? Okay. So, I don't know if you guys want to talk a little bit about the next chapter?
Sure, I mean, depending on your time.
That's fine. We got.
Okay. Well, Tom and I had talked a little bit about scheduling, and we thought it might be a good idea to just have a brief intro to the future land use chapter, because right after we get some of this input, we're going to start at least setting up the chapter and then working on, some of the initial drafting the vision and community character chapter. And so we just want to be able to sort of take off running after we have some of this initial public input.
Okay.
So Tom, do you want to should we talk about the schedule briefly first? Or do you want a chapter?
Yeah, let's talk about the schedule, because Liz and I have been tweaking it the last few days.
All right, I will see if I can pull this up. I did have some issues sharing my screen earlier today for some reason. All right, so hopefully it'll work now. And if my computer may not. Tom, do you have that schedule by any chance?
I sure do.
Okay.
Gonna
Well,
take a minute to find it, though.
While Tom looks for it, because I don't know what's happening with my Zoom sharing ability. Seems to have disappeared. So I'll just go over the schedule briefly while Tom pulls it up. It's just a Word document, but we had been
There it is.
kind
You
of-
guys see it?
Oh, perfect. That was really fast. So we just outlined some of our next steps for meetings and what we thought we could, try to target. Tonight we were hoping to do a really quick review of the requirements for the future land use chapter, but if we don't have time, then that's totally fine. I think we can hold off on our sort of implementation table and structure for the final deliverables. We have our workshop coming up. Tom and I are going to work on looking at some. Tom, I don't know if this is the most recent version of the document, actually. So maybe if you stop, I can just kind of walk through, because I have a simplified version with just the meetings.
Oh, you're right, Liz.
Yeah.
I have a paper copy here, and I have the second to last schedule.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. So I'll just go over the other schedule, and you can stop sharing that one, I guess. Sorry, everyone. So we had hoped that at our August meeting on the 3rd, Tom and I will do a report out on the public input workshop, and we'll go over a draft vision and community character chapter. And then we can have sort of an initial discussion on the future land use chapter. We'll talk about some of the items that we may want to propose or include in that chapter. And by we, I mean sort of the broader we, you really.
Yeah.
And then August 17th, we had tentatively marked for a planning board and growth planning committee joint meeting. So I'm not sure if that's feasible, but Werner, you can kind of keep us up to date on whether that's possible to have that meeting with the planning board. And we expect that we'll, definitely have additional conversations with the planning board also. But I think, prior to really getting too deep in strategies or future land use, it would probably be good to have that discussion with the planning board.
Okay, you said August 17th?
Yeah, that's what we had set
Okay.
tentatively. So that would be our
Okay.
second meeting in August.
All right, I just found the current schedule, so I'm going to share screen again.
Okay.
You see it?
Yep. Okay.
This is the right one, Liz, right?
We had flagged maybe the week of September 13th through 17th for the next workshop. The first meeting of the month, growth planning committee meeting is a holiday, so didn't want to schedule anything on that, at least on that Tuesday. But we thought if we're still having the growth planning committee meeting on September 7th, then we could review some draft strategies. Tom and I will be working on some, rough strategies for everyone to review. And then at the following growth planning committee meeting, we can report out on the future land use public workshop and also do some review of the draft future land use chapter. And then in October, spend some time refining the policies, strategies, and then the implementation table that we're going to put together with some more detail on the strategies. And that'll probably take a couple meetings at least. And then start the plan wrap up and formatting and public hearing process in November. So it's somewhat of an ambitious schedule, I think, given given the time frame and the strategy development and review process. But this is what we thought we could target, if that looks decent to the committee.
Looks good to me.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it has to be aggressive to meet the timeline, so. Right, because it's gonna take us a while once we get everything all packaged up and go through public review to get it ready for a June vote. Right. We don't really have that much time before the selectmen have to approve it to put it on the warrant. We're looking sometime in March, right? Winter?
Yeah, we like to have
February, March?
yeah, exactly. Yeah, we like to, to have, drafts ready, in February, for that discussion, which, I think if this is, where we're at, then that seems feasible.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's the rest of the committee think? Any comments?
Yeah, let's go.
All right.
Looks
That
good.
sounds good.
Yeah.
So I did just hear back from Tina. Table capacity is at 8 to 10.
Whoa.
Okay.
That gives us plenty of flexibility.
Yeah, so big tables.
Okay, good. Excellent.
And she was planning on us being at around 75.
Okay.
And if we were 100, can she accommodate that?
I'm
Yeah.
sure there's capacity to accommodate that. But I'll find that out.
Yeah, that's a big tent. Warren, if I remember correctly, at the last meeting, you said the tent was 125 feet long.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty good size.
All right, that's good. Can you send this out to us, Liz? Proposed schedule?
Sure. We'll do that tonight.
Excellent, thank you. All right. So you got that on there for tonight's meeting, the review chapter 208 regs for future land use chapter. How much time do you need for that? I probably can go till.
Well, we could just do like a 5-minute review if that works for you.
Yeah, that'd work.
Just
Thank
to
you.
set an intro, and we can always send out the requirements if folks are interested in kind of skimming that before we dive into that chapter. The future land use chapter should align and reflect the community's vision. And so once we have the vision and community character chapter drafted, which we'll be able to at least get started on after this public input workshop, we can start in on looking at the future land use plan portion of the comprehensive plan. And a lot of the information that's required, some of the information that's required is actually a little bit redundant of some of the information that's in the natural resources chapters. So we'll be looking at development constraints and pulling in and sort of summarizing some of the key information from our natural resources and our water and marine resources chapters. And we'll be looking at recent development trends and some of the population projections and trends, what that tells us about new residential units. Some of that we have in the housing chapter, so we'll be tying together some of the pieces from other chapters, looking at protecting critical natural resources and waterfront areas from development. And then we'll have a map with the growth areas. And I know that's something that the town the growth planning committee just had another look at. So we can have a follow-up discussion on whether there's any changes that may be proposed as part of the comprehensive plan. And then Tom and I are also interested in having a discussion on potential zoning changes. So we'll take another look at our zoning maps and then we can walk through the state requirements as far as the different analyses that are required and the state policies and strategies for that chapter too. So it's sort of similar to some of the planning topic area chapters, but kind of pulls together a lot of the pieces more and theoretically drives more of the land use specific strategies and recommendations that come out of the plan.
Okay.
I would say that's it in a nutshell.
Yeah. Yeah, if you could send that to us as well, I'd like to look through that.
Yep.
Okay. Any comments or questions for Liz? Okay. Any other
Not here.
topics? Okay, any other topics we should cover this evening?
One.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead, Jim.
I was delayed a couple minutes. I was just curious, what was the, how many people signed up to come for the 26th?
So we have the registration capped online at 72, and that is how many people registered.
Oh, that's great. Okay, thank you.
And my comment was really for Werner. Are we going back to public meetings in August, assuming we don't get worse in Maine?
Yeah, no,
Delta?
that's a good question, and I did want to address that. So right now, with the way that the state of emergency language was written, the online meetings, essentially expire here at the end of the month. So I anticipate we're going to wind up be going back to in-person meetings, starting next month. So I know there was some thought and discussion on trying to do a hybrid, type meeting. But I think, we just have some technical difficulties with really, making that work really well. So, and I do know the selectmen, I think they were talking about looking at a policy, that the state legislation would allow, for doing, some type of a mixed, meeting or an online meeting. But I think it was, as I understood the legislation, it was pretty limited in terms of purpose. It had to be because it had to be a specific need, in order to have that type of a meeting. So,
I think it was. I think the point of the legislation was, no one is saying if you can technologically do it, you couldn't continue on Zoom. The question is whether members of public boards can participate remotely, I think. And they said, well, that makes a lot of sense if the towns want to do it, but we're only going to let members be remote under certain circumstances if the town agrees to that. So it's local, it's home rule, but we're not going to allow public bodies to just go into hiding and be remote all the time. So I think the legislation said if the town wants to do it, you could have a member who's, not well, emergency, taking care of a sick person. There were a bunch of different examples.
Right. Yep.
But that doesn't say anything about the issue of how you let the public participate or not. But as I read Lori's memo from the agenda for Thursday night, she points out that the tech challenges we have about doing both what we always did, which was TV, local channel, as well as YouTube, as well as Zoom. Zoom being the only one where people can participate from afar. People can't watch the local channel and send in comments. They can't watch it on YouTube and send in comments.
Correct.
So I'm wondering whether Dave might know the answer to this. Do we have any way? I mean, it just occurred to me. Everyone who I knew who used to watch on local TV has passed away, and it seems to me if people participate, my impression is that they participate. They've been turning to Zoom or they've been watching on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have a way to know whether? Because we apparently could do. It's kind of a town decision. We could do Zoom and allow public participation, but we can't do the TV at the same time. I think if I understood Lori's memo.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But I mean, my thought on this is that it's really something for the selectmen and Lori to make a determination on where we want to go for all the boards, right? And then obviously we yeah. And then we just,
Correct.
yeah. But we do, it's not the greatest and it doesn't work as like Zoom does, but you could watch this on YouTube at a later time or on the TV at a later time, and you could send us a comment through, to the GPC or to our webpage for the planning process. It's not the best, but there's still a tool that's open for us to have that communication if they can't, attend in person, which would be the best, but so, and hopefully we'll figure out ways, the town can figure out ways that, all meetings can be a little more interactive, which will provide its own challenges as well.
I'm personally in favor of, even if we come, we're in person to have that larger audience. I think the technology has advanced us to realize that we're going to get a bigger audience by allowing people to sit in their living rooms and listen and have the ability to participate. I hope they embrace it. And again, it's normal for us to meet in person, unless I need to go to Alabama to do something and I still want to participate. But that's not normalcy. And that's just got to be the understanding with a little bit of flexibility if it's ever possible, but it's not normal for us to all be remote. We show up in person, but I just think it's gonna, this was just mentioned at the school board meeting last night too, and, your audience is just bigger when you allow people and, think about some people still feel intimidated showing up even at our meeting or speaking. So for them to at least, have that live interaction and maybe just have the courage to say something, I promote it and hopefully it'll become a normalcy. So.
Yeah.
For more community involvement, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think we have to follow the lead of Lori and the selectmen. So.
Right.
Okay. Any other topics before we go to the approval of the minutes? Okay. Thank you for the minutes, Janet. I'll take a motion on those.
Don't
I
move.
All right. So that was moved and seconded twice, so we're in good shape. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Hi,
All right. Thank you, Janet.
you're welcome.
All right. So next Monday night, sometime between 4 and 5, we show up down in Northampton. Get ready for a wonderful event. Looking forward to good collaboration with us and the whole community. And our next meeting after that is August. I know you had it right up there and I forgot the date.
Yes, sir.
August 3rd. Thank you.
Third.
So August 3rd. And it will be in person
Whoa.
at the village station.
Exciting.
And Dan, that would be good to mention at your close, to
Yeah,
say
sure.
that they're going to give a report to us at that meeting, and that would be one way they could sort of get a summary.
Yep. Okay. All right. All right, all.
Good night.
Thank you all.
Night.
All right.
Thank you,
Good night.
Take care.
Move to adjourn.
All right, all in favor?
Second.
Seconded? All right. Take care, all. Thank you.
Yep. Bye.
Bye-bye.